All right, good morning. Sorry for the lateness.
It's okay.
Apologize. Thanks for being on time.
What's the minimum amount of skilled players you feel like you need to go into a game?
The minimum amount. Well, I tell you this. A lot of our players, just like offensive linemen, are versatile, so they can play either X or Z, or they can move from outside to inside. And then you factor in somebody like a Darren Sproles, who can play running back. He can also play a slot receiver. So there's some versatility there. I mean, typically, as you guys know, we carry, 5 on game day usually, and usually your fourth and fifth guys are usually special teams guys. In that case, but if you had minimum, if you had 3 skill guys, your 2 tight ends or 3 tight ends, and a guy like Darren Sproles who can factor in, you can definitely make things work.
Do you have enough healthy players to field a 46-man?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
There's
Heck
a number of, if you just do the math, there's a lot of did not participate guys who could potentially be out.
We have like 7 days before we play games, so we got all this time in between to get healthy and all that. So, yeah, we have plenty of guys.
Is it too early to rule out Alshon, Dallas, and DeSean at this point, or are you still optimistic that they can practice today and perhaps play a role?
Yeah, I'm still optimistic. I will say this: DeSean will be out of this game, obviously, but the other 2 I'm optimistic. We'll see today, and then obviously wait till game day.
Hey, Doug, with the Lions, Matt Patricia's second season, when you think back to your first season here, did it take a little bit of time to sort of get your identity on the team? Do you see that developing with the Lions in year 2?
I see that with them. You go back and watch tape from a year ago to now. I mean, you see this team obviously from an execution standpoint on tape, and then how well they're moving around and flying around, knowing their assignments and being where they've been coached to be, on tape and positioning. So you see that from year 1 to year 2, and how fast and how eager these guys are playing, and just the confidence level that they're playing with.
Doug, Fletcher Cox mentioned yesterday that he feels better probably now than he did his first 2 weeks. Have you seen that in practice this week, that he looks like maybe more of himself?
Yeah, and with him missing a little time there in training camp and all of that, I think he's getting his legs under him, and his body's feeling good, and you see the explosiveness, not only last week in the game but in practice. So, and I think a lot of guys are in that situation.
Doug, you spoke about in Carson's first few years about you'd have to, when watching film, maybe remind him about protecting himself, maybe run out here, maybe slide here, maybe throw the ball away there. At this point, though, in his career, do you just accept that this is who he is, and that those points don't really need to be repeated to him because he understands?
Well, we understand who he is, but we still have those conversations, and we still communicate that. I mean, I think that's important, whether it's Carson or Josh, Nate, Kyle, whoever's playing. We still have to have those conversations and just as friendly reminders to them to protect themselves.
How receptive is he to that?
He's been awesome. He's been great to that, and it's something that he's had to work on it. But he's been very receptive and open, and it's making him better.
In his career, Jordan Howard's had a certain level of workload that he hasn't had in the first 2 games here. Do you have to check in on him, make sure he's buying in and still okay with the amount you give him?
Yeah, I mean, we check in on all our players, but Deuce does a great job of handling that room and managing those guys. And now that we're down a guy with Corey at this point, their workloads will increase, obviously, and we brought him here for a reason. Long season, we're just kind of getting off the ground, so we should hopefully see more of him.
Doug, with another game coming up on Thursday, how much do you take that into account, when deciding about guys like Alshon or Dallas or some other guys?
Yeah, I mean, it's tricky. You got a couple games here pretty quick. So you got to be careful. I mean, because really, with the season being this young and this early, with a lot of ball left, you got to be smart. But at the same time, if they can help us and give us something, I want that too. For the football team. But we take all that into consideration when we make these game time decisions.
You've made mid-season changes at left guard each of the last 2 seasons. Isaac didn't have his best game against Atlanta. How do you know when it's time to make a switch?
It's not time.
How do you know when it is?
I think you just if it. Here's what I know. Everybody's gonna have a bad game, right? One game does not decide somebody's season. Am I supposed to bench Nelly for dropping a pass, or Zach Ertz for not getting the first down, or you know what I'm saying? I mean, you're not going to do that. It's not going to define Isaac. It's not going to define our season. So one game to me doesn't determine if we need to make a move at any position on the team.
So when you've done it in the past, is it more cumulative than?
If you go back to my first year with Nelly, for instance, it was cumulative. It was over multiple weeks, and just to separate him at that time and how he's recovered and bounced back from that. So it's definitely for me it would have to be a repetitive thing or an injury thing. But in this case, got so much trust and ability and skill in Isaac. Not at all.
As far as your desire to play more 12 personnel this season, was that based on how you like the way the offense functions from that look, or to get Dallas on the field more?
Yes.
Which one?
Both.
Okay, so and the reason I ask is when Dallas is not in there, do you still like 12 personnel, or is that merely a way to play Dallas?
Well, yeah, it is a way to play Dallas. It's a way to play both he and Zach, obviously. And sometimes, we have to go in when we start game planning for teams. Matchups become big, as you know. And so are they playing a big nickel on defense? Are they playing their base defense, regular nickel? What are they doing structurally on defense? And how can that – and that's just not in the passing game. That helps us in the run game, when they got a little bit lighter, smaller box. So those things we take into consideration. Obviously, we want Dallas on the field as much as we can, but we also know we got 3 good skill guys on the perimeter that we want on the field at the same time. So, it is a balancing act. We take all that into consideration each week because they're all explosive and dynamic players.
Doug, what is it about Stafford that he's in the top 10 of fourth quarter comebacks, of NFL players? What is it about him? What qualities are there that make him, that type of guy?
Yeah, I think he's obviously developed over time. Being a leader of that football team and playing the quarterback position. As we know, his arm strength is really good. Being able to, especially at the end of games, being able to make all the throws. He has the capability of extending plays with his legs once he's out of the pocket. And just has a mentality of winning. I mean, that's just he's got a demeanor of finishing football games, and he did that to us, a few years back, and it's something that with these types of guys, these quarterbacks, these good quarterbacks like this, it's you got to play for 60 minutes, and you got to continue to play each down. You can't lose your focus on any one particular play, and these guys will find a way to beat you if they can.
When you evaluate quarterbacks, how do you quantify toughness, and how do you balance, being tough versus being?
Well, I think there's, you're talking from a physical standpoint, not a mental standpoint. Take hits. Well, the stuff you can obviously check that on tape. You watch games and you see them take shots. Do they stay in the next play, or are they coming out? Obviously, through our medical staff, you can check, history of injuries, things like that, and then really just how do they respond after being hit in a game? What does the coordinator or the play caller call the next time or the next play after taking a shot? Are they going straight to the run, or is he putting it right back in his hand? Same way with maybe throwing an interception. You're going to put it right back in the air. Or you're going to run the football. So there's ways of checking that, and then really too when you're visiting with these kids, coming out of college, and you're talking to them, you just have a sense that this guy has a demeanor about him and a toughness about him that you like.
Earlier in the week, Mike Rowe talking about Miles Sanders. Maybe sometimes you'd like to see the foot in the ground a little bit more quickly. Do you think that's fair? Have you seen some uncertainty from him, and do you just think that's an experience thing? Or?
It's a fair statement. It's experience. Comes to experience. And he and I spoke during the week of practice this week, and And I was just kind of going back through a couple plays in the game, and he once he saw it on tape, he knew it. He even knew it in game last week. I think JP got a hold on one that he bounced outside. And listen, holes in our league, the hole isn't going to be where you can drive a truck through it. It's going to be tight, and so he has the ability to slither through there, and that's what we want him to do. And we want him to see that, and that just comes with more time on the field. More snaps, more reps.
You mentioned
a guy like Alex Ellis, you promoted him from the practice squad and everything. If he has to play on Sunday, if Goddard can't make it, I mean, like, what kind of things do you expect from him? I mean, what's he been like going from practice squad to the roster and back and forth?
And that's a challenge for him, to be in and out and back in. But he's handled it extremely well. This is a tough kid. We saw that in preseason when we brought him in. Some of the tough plays he made, the tackles he made on special teams, and it caught our attention right away there. He's a tremendous worker in practice. He studies the game plan, and if he gets an opportunity this week, I mean, we've got him in spots to, obviously the blocking part where you lose if Dallas can't go, for instance. I mean, he kind of replaces that just a little bit. And then he has a role on special teams, so he's a core team player that, he's got that body type that Dave Phipp likes and we like on special teams. And, you can win games with guys like that because sometimes they may not be always the most talented, but they got a lot of heart, determination, will, desire, and they want to succeed, and that's who Alex is.
Good.